I'd like to play Donald Trump at some point.
Really?
Oh, he's huge. He's this Shakespearean character, this serio-tragic comedic character. Who wouldn't want to take a bite out of that?
Are you working on your huge?
Huge. It's huge. Let me tell you something. And this I can tell you.
Wow.
It is huge.
You got it down already.
Do I really?
I think
I think it's like a caricature right now.
Your Seinfeld's very good too, actually. I won't put you on the spot, but it's very good.
No, I know. Jerry Seinfeld!
Issues and problems, and if you listen to that, you would think that everything is horrible. Everything is just horrible. He also doesn't present any solutions. I'm just going to make it great. It'll be great again. I can guarantee it. Great again. We're going to work great deals. It's going to be fantastic. Everything's going to be huge. It's going to be great. Great, great, great. Huge. Problem, problem, problem. Great, great, great. And you go, he's saying nothing. He has no ideas.
If getting roasted was a sport, Donald Trump just took home the gold, courtesy of Bryan Cranston. The Breaking Bad star didn't just call him out, he torched him, leaving nothing but smoke and spray tan behind. Cranston went in, tearing apart Trump's usual playbook. The whining, the excuses, the endless victim act. The crowd, loving every second, social media, an absolute wildfire. Within minutes, clips of the takedown were everywhere, with memes rolling in faster than Trump's legal troubles. And you already know what's next. Trump sees it, and when Trump sees it, there's only one possible outcome: a full-blown meltdown on Truth Social. Buckle up, because this one's about to get messy.
I think he is like a huge cargo ship. Massive. Commands attention. Demands it. His wake leaves tremendous, problems. His displacement of water is enormous. And yet you go into the cargo hold and you go, hello, hello, it's empty. There's nothing there.
Bryan Cranston just took the mic and absolutely shredded Donald Trump in a way only he could. The man who made Walter White a household name delivered a takedown so sharp, even Trump's lawyers probably winced. Cranston didn't hold back. He called out Trump's endless victim complex, his questionable business skills, and his habit of blaming everyone but himself. And the irony? A guy who played a criminal mastermind on TV is lecturing Trump about ethics. You can't make this up. The internet, of course, lost its mind. Twitter was on fire, memes flooded in, and the clip went viral in record time. And you already know what's coming. Trump saw it, and if there's one thing he can't resist, it's a good old-fashioned social media meltdown.
He wants the title. He wants the title of president, but he doesn't want the job of president. Even his own campaign manager, Paul Manafort, said in an interview, well, his likely vice presidential candidate will have an extensive legislative background to do the things that Donald Trump doesn't want to do and push policy and make bills down to Congress. And I'm thinking, wait, to do what he doesn't want to do? To put forth his agenda to create laws with a cooperative, it's like he doesn't want it. No, I don't want to do it. He just wants the job. I'm going off. You're getting me going here,
Larry. You're going to
stump
for Hillary.
Absolutely.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Now, in case you missed it, Bryan Cranston just went full Heisenberg and Donald Trump, delivering a takedown so fierce even his hairspray couldn't hold up. It wasn't just a roast, it was a public demolition. Cranston laid it all out, calling Trump's presidency one long reality show where instead of firing people, he just ignored problems until they exploded. And somehow, despite the chaos, Trump still acted completely shocked when everything fell apart. The internet, of course, ate it up. Memes flooded in, comparisons to Breaking Bad rolled out, and Trump, well, let's just say he didn't take it well.
Our president has a sensibility of bluster, and it's unfortunate because it sort of undermines the responsibility and the duty of those diplomats who are using every means possible to negotiate and to try to get to a level of understanding.
Cranston made it clear, Trump isn't some tragic hero fighting against injustice. He's just a guy facing the consequences of his own actions. But somehow, in his mind, getting indicted is just another season of his personal reality show. And let's talk about his perfect phone calls. According to Trump, every conversation he's ever had is flawless, which is funny, considering most of them end in investigations. Imagine calling your grandma and then holding a press conference to declare, "It was the best call, folks. No collusion. Totally perfect." That's Trump logic. Cranston didn't stop there. He went after Trump's financial fraud mess, pointing out that this so-called billionaire mysteriously goes broke every time he has to pay up. One day he's rolling in gold-plated everything, and the next he's practically launching a GoFundMe to cover legal fees. At this point, even monopoly money has more actual value than Trump's so-called empire.
Made of Teflon. That what he said about John McCain was reprehensible. What he said about women, what he said about Mexican Americans, what he said, it's like, oh my God, how is this man going up in the polls?
And here's the best part. Cranston didn't even have to respond. He just sat back and let the internet do what it does best, drag Trump into oblivion. While Trump was scrambling to come up with a half-decent insult, social media was already flooded with memes comparing his meltdown to a toddler throwing a tantrum in a Walmart checkout line. Fox News, of course, went full DEFCON 1. Suddenly, Cranston was the face of the so-called Hollywood elite out to destroy America, because apparently calling out fraud and incompetence is now considered radical. One commentator even suggested that actors should stay out of politics, which is hilarious, coming from the same crowd that voted for a reality TV host. Meanwhile, Cranston's fans were having the time of their lives. They flooded X, with clips of him delivering some of the most iconic lines in TV history, except now they were directed at Trump. "I am the danger" hit completely different when repurposed as a message for a former president facing multiple indictments. Some even joked that if Trump wants to keep up, he better start practicing his monologues, because at this rate, his next big speech might be delivered in a courtroom.
Often asked, how would Lyndon Johnson think about Donald Trump? And I honestly feel that 36 would put his arm around 45 and earnestly wish him success. And he would also whisper in his ear something he said often as a form of encouragement and a cautionary tale. Just don't piss in the soup that all of us gotta eat. Thank you very much. Good night.
And the thing is, Trump's responses are always the same tired, recycled lines. Fake news, woke Hollywood, they're just jealous. It's like he has a cheat sheet of excuses, but instead of defending his actions, all he's doing is proving Cranston's point over and over. Instead of actually addressing the critique, he doubles down on playing the victim. This is a guy who's supposedly the strongest leader, yet can't handle a little roasting from an actor. Imagine being a grown man, built like a political force, yet your response to someone calling you out is to throw a tantrum like you just had your Game Boy taken away. It's almost impressive, really. Instead of showing he can take the heat, Trump's just out here acting like someone who's never heard the word accountability before. You'd think a billionaire businessman would know how to handle a little criticism, but nope. Instead, he's like a petulant child being told to do his homework.
Make America great again. My comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark?
Bryan Cranston there with what might be the most succinct and on-point reasoning as to why MAGA was a bit of a mad one. Because what all these Trump supporters didn't want to admit was, when they said make America great again, what they really meant was make it back to a time when I could say and do what I want and there were no consequences.
Exactly. Bryan Cranston's words hit harder than any of Trump's usual rants. The man has the kind of talent and respect in Hollywood that Trump could only dream of. Cranston's monologues have earned him Emmys, while Trump's best work is getting roasted on social media. When it comes to handling a serious, well-crafted comeback, Trump's response is about as effective as a balloon in a room full of needles. It's almost funny how much he gets worked up over people like Cranston pointing out the obvious. Trump's supposed to be this tough, untouchable figure, figure, but the second someone calls him out, he folds like a cheap suit. It's almost as if the only real fight he's good at is the one against reality. Cranston just reminded everyone that Trump's not the tough guy he pretends to be. He's just a man who knows how to make noise but doesn't have the substance to back it up.
Hyperbole or hyperbole, pronounced by Julia Gillard as hyperbole. It is, of course, extreme exaggeration. Well, we're just over there in CPAC where Donald Trump is speaking. Make America Great Again is his slogan, but according to the actor Bryan Cranston, that's racist. Have a listen.
A lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said, so just ask yourself from an African-American experience, when was it ever great in America for the African-American? When was it great? So if you're making it great again, it's not including them. So it's to teach us in the woke world.
Exactly. In Trump's world, nothing is ever his fault. He could trip over his own shoelaces and somehow blame it on the deep state. Lost an election, rigged, facing charges, witch hunt, caught in a blatant lie, fake news. It's like a broken record, playing the same excuse over and over, and his supporters keep dancing to it like it's their favorite song. The craziest part? They don't stop to ask the obvious question. If the entire world, from judges to former allies to literal juries, is saying the same thing, maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't a massive conspiracy. Maybe the problem is him, but Trump world doesn't do logic. They don't do accountability. The second he gets called out, his base goes into full meltdown mode, ready to attack anyone who dares speak the truth. And Bryan Cranston, he just threw the truth right in Trump's face with the precision of a Breaking Bad monologue. No wonder Trump and his fans can't handle it. At this point, Trump getting called out isn't even news. It's just Tuesday, and no matter how loud he cries about it, the facts aren't going anywhere, no matter how hard he tries to spin them.
So it's to teach us in the woke world to open up and accept the possibilities that our privilege has created blind spots for us. And maybe I haven't seen what is really happening yet in all my years.
Did Trump's biggest fans actually listen to Cranston's argument? Of course not. Instead, they immediately labeled him just another out-of-touch Hollywood liberal who hates America. Because in their world, having a different opinion isn't debate, it's betrayal. Never mind that Cranston, like most reasonable people, simply believes that maybe, just maybe, a guy buried under legal troubles shouldn't be running the country. But in MAGA logic, the real problem isn't the man with a legal record longer than a CVS receipt. It's the people daring to call him out. So as expected, Trump's loyalists twisted reality into knots, acting like Cranston was part of some massive Hollywood plot against their leader. To them, he's just another puppet of the so-called liberal elites. Because admitting the truth, that Trump's problems are entirely self-inflicted, would shatter the fantasy they've built around him. And so, the cycle repeats. Every indictment, every lawsuit, every scandal, none of it convinces them that Trump might be at fault. Instead, they see it all as more evidence that he's the ultimate victim, under attack by the deep state, the media, and anyone with a working memory. But at some point, even the most diehard supporters have to ask themselves, if judges, journalists, former allies, and even Hollywood stars are all saying the same thing, is it really a conspiracy, or is it just the truth?
I am not a politician. I am not a doctor or a lawyer, but I played all of those on television. But I am a father of a daughter. And it's important to me, for her life now and for the future and other fathers' daughters, to be able to have within their lifetime the fundamental right of freedom of choice. There should not be anyone but them deciding what happens to their...
And you just know Trump is going to squeeze every last drop out of this. By next week, don't be surprised if he's selling Bryan Cranston roast NFTs, because nothing says totally innocent like trying to make a quick buck off yet another public humiliation. Or maybe he'll throw one of his infamous rallies, rambling for 2 hours about how Cranston is a washed-up nobody with zero talent, while also claiming Breaking Bad is his favorite show, and he always knew Walter White was a Trump guy, because, let's be real, consistency has never been his strong suit. Of course, the irony would fly right over his head. In Trump's world, the only real crime is failing to worship him. He spent years turning every embarrassment into some grand conspiracy against him, so why stop now? By the time he's done spinning this, his supporters will be convinced Cranston is actually a deep state agent, funded by George Soros, the ghost of Karl Marx, and an elite network of Hollywood liberals who communicate exclusively through coded Emmy speeches. Because when your entire political strategy is built on playing the victim, reality is just an inconvenience.
You played Lyndon Johnson, you played Bob Mazur, real-life historical figures. Anybody that you're thinking about or maybe would like to play?
I'd like to play Donald Trump at some point.
Really?
Oh, he's huge. He's this Shakespearean character, this serio-tragic comedic character. Who wouldn't want to take a bite out of that?
Are you working on your huge?
Huge. It's huge. Let me tell you something. And this I can tell you.
Wow.
It is huge.
You got it down already.
Do I really?
I think
it's like a caricature right now.
Your Seinfeld's very good too, actually. I'm going to put you on the spot, but it's very good.
No, I know. Jerry Seinfeld!
Meanwhile, Bryan Cranston is out here living his best life, unbothered, winning awards, and proving that actual talent beats an easily bruised ego every time. While Trump spirals into yet another self-inflicted meltdown, Cranston is busy adding to his already legendary career, effortlessly shifting between acting, directing, and producing critically acclaimed projects. He doesn't need to jump on social media every 5 minutes to scream about his success. His work speaks for itself. He's got range, credibility, and most importantly, the ability to form complete sentences without turning it into an all-caps Twitter tantrum. And let's be honest, there's something deeply satisfying about watching a seasoned professional completely dismantle a guy who once stared directly into a solar eclipse on purpose. Cranston didn't just wipe the floor with Trump, he steam cleaned it, waxed it, and left a caution sign so no one else slips on his mess again. The contrast between them couldn't be clearer. One is a respected, multi-talented artist, and the other is a walking punchline whose biggest recent achievement was convincing people that drinking bleach might be a solid medical plan. Of course, Trump can't resist turning a minor celebrity feud into a full-blown circus. He thrives on distraction, and nothing shifts attention away from his legal problems like picking a fight with someone far more respected than he'll ever be. By the time this is over, don't be surprised if he's signing copies of The Art of the Deal with a bitter footnote about how Cranston was never that great of an actor anyway, because when all else fails, rewriting history in his favor is the only move he's got. So while Trump is busy rewriting reality to fit his ego, Cranston is writing his next script, landing his next major role, and proving why true talent will always outshine empty bravado. Some battles don't need to be fought, they just need to be outclassed. And in this case, the outcome was decided before Trump even opened his mouth. So what's next? Will Trump challenge Cranston to a debate? Will his supporters launch a Breaking Bad boycott 10 years too late? Will we get an all-caps meltdown on Truth Social where Trump swears he never liked Cranston while also insisting he could have played Walter White better? Who knows? But one thing's for sure, Bryan Cranston just did what the justice system still hasn't done, held Trump accountable in front of the world, and made it look easy.